Hello everyone and welcome to episode 21 of the Experience Kills podcast. I'm your host Ben, and today, joined with me, I have my forever co-host Rob.
Hello, I have a cat resting my arm, and now this podcast is long enough to be able to be legal to drink in America. That's how many weeks we've been doing it. Fun fact.
It's accurate. And we also have in the rotating bi-weekly third chair, Cameron.
Let's be honest, let's call it what it is. I'm a part-time podcaster. That's all I am.
But we love you nonetheless. You know, that makes you no lesser in our eyes.
Clearly not as much as your, heterosexual life partner you have on the other side of here.
How is everybody today?
I've been described as that.
Heterosexual life partner.
Yeah.
So how is everyone? How's things? How are we all doing?
Yeah, I'm good. I have a cat using me as a treadmill. It's fine.
Cat on a lap. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's always good. Cam, how are you?
Oh, I have been devoting some of my free time to improving skills around the kitchen. That's just the only thing I have now. I've given up on everything else during lockdown before work starts. I'm baking bread. That's how bored I'm getting now. I'm literally baking bread, and that's how bored I am now.
Play more video games. That would be my solution to these issues. By the way, if you can hear weird noise in the background, it's because the wind is really, really, really loud. Oh my god.
Cam having lots of time on his hands sounds like the yeast of his problems.
Oh god, it's begun already.
You know what? I would make a joke about that, but I don't want to rise to the occasion.
Hey!
Yeah, I did it anyway.
We should stop loafing around, really.
I want to beat you both to death with a rolling pin. Does that count? That's not a pun as such, but it is baking related. Maybe stab you with a paring knife or afterwards as well. Just while we're in the kitchen. There's lots of things I could use to kill you guys. Just
yeah, that's true.
Ben is in a great mood today.
Yeah. Well, I'll be ready to proceed.
Ugh, God. Now I realise how much it hurts because I did one of the reviews I've done with Richard a couple of times really, because there was a sequel to this game, was for a game called Awesome P, which is this kind of like pared down 2D platforming game, and throughout both of those reviews that Richard did, I was just throwing in P-related puns and P-related like wordplay until he ended up in the second one cutting a lot of it out because he hated me by the end of it. Just like, Ben, you need to stop. And it was just
censorship. Like, censorship on this channel, honestly.
Yeah.
Now I understand why. We've got quite a bit of news. We've got a topic today and some stuff we've been playing. So should we get straight into the news? I want to sort of start with this really funny one. In a way, it's funny. In a way, it's awful and horrible, but it's funny because criminals are stupid. There's a reason people become criminals generally, and that's because they're not very clever, are they? Mm-hmm. They're not smart enough to do something constructive, so instead they do something destructive. So there was this man of 36, Clint Butler in the West Midlands, who went and got caught. It's so funny. He was a bank robber, right? Or armed robbery, and he had escaped from prison sometime prior. And this really happened. This is a true story. And he's out and about, and the police spot him and his mate. And then they look suspicious because when they see the police, they turn around and go the other way. So they look dodgy straight away. So the police go and speak to them. So why are you out about? Oh, mate, I've got to get my Call of Duty on. I can't just sit at home. It's like, well, that's not a valid reason to be ignoring lockdown. Can we check your ID? And at that point, this idiot just like low blows, big punt at the copper's nuts, right, to drop him. But the best bit is...
Yeah.
He kicks him in the nuts. It's awful. He assaults the policeman, and they're just doing their jobs, and that's messed up. Cool. But the best bit is the guy fails at the kick so spectacularly he falls over, and then proceeds to get like arrested, obviously, dogpiled by the security guards and the police that are nearby and stuff.
Yeah.
And gets caught, and he's going back, and he's going to serve time for the additional offences he caused, and on top of his original sentence, and obviously the extra time he'd get for escaping, and it's just like. You idiot! You just got caught for. You could have just cooperated, and instead you panicked and did that. And there's a reason you keep. You're as a criminal, you're in prison. It's because you're stupid.
The biggest thing here, the biggest question is that it's posed actually in the Eurogamer article that we'll link to. Why didn't he just download it? I mean, if
He
you're
might have
buying
bad
Call of
internet.
Duty, you're playing it for the multiplayer, right? Predominantly. So
Yeah.
you've got an internet connection. So surely you would have just downloaded the game.
Well, I mean, if he's on the run from prison, right? So, is in like a home prison, like
No,
I think
he was in a
minimum security prison.
he was in a real prison though. He was in a real
Yeah.
prison. It's not like he was tagged at home. He was in a real prison. Yeah,
But he
he's
was
still
actually arrested and everything.
previous.
And from prison. So he's been on the lam, basically,
Mhm.
run away from prison with some BS internet, apparently, that requires a hard copy of the game, essentially.
You know, clearly was able to get hold of an Xbox or PlayStation, but not good internet. You know, so yeah.
I'd be annoyed if he got his hand on a PS5.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine? He's got a PS5 and a Series X, and he's living it up, and then what a bloody idiot! I mean, good. I'm super glad. You know, the article we linked to has the body cam footage, and it's worth watching just for the not for the horrible stuff the police people go through, because you know they get hit, and he's really offensive and assaults them, you know, and yeah, and you know, I think they mentioned getting punched in the face
like
and stuff.
Two pictures. There's 2 moments in there, sorry, that are literally your face changes in an instant. You just go, oh, as soon as the nuts hit, and then as soon as he slips on his ass, it's instantly you're going back, buddy. Oh,
Insta karma, I love it.
Instant karma. I love instant karma.
God, it's just well, enjoy being locked up in a much more high security prison now, I suspect, as well. Have fun with that.
Say bye to those COD points.
So from one obvious criminal to one potential criminal, we're moving on to some FIFA 21 controversy that's come up in the last week or so, being dubbed EA Gate, in which an alleged member of staff at EA, someone internal, was been selling like coveted Ultimate Team cards, like the high-end, really hard ones to get hold of, for like real money on the kind of like black market trading that goes on with these cards, because people are mad into their Ultimate Teams, and he's made thousands of pounds supposedly out of this. Allegedly, they're investigating this right now. But I mean, I guess that temptation must be very real if you're on the inside.
So essentially, this is just capitalism. Supply and demand. They have a thing, they have a supply, and there is a demand for it. Then they've made a quick buck.
I'm pretty sure it would be in breach of his terms of employment.
Oh, without a shadow of a doubt. Doesn't mean it's not capitalism.
I mean, I don't know where legality falls in this. Could you be looking at something related to fraud? Could you be looking at some? I'm not sure. It's not. I don't know if you can call it theft. Like, so I'm not sure what you call it.
It's like a digital theft, isn't it? Really?
Yeah. If it was theft, it would be theft from EA.
I think he's defrauded EA, is what you could probably argue, because he's basically, you know, removing potential revenue from them, because he's then selling these very high end cards to individuals who would normally have had to do, you know, the random loot pool and buy lots of random packs, hoping to get these cards.
Surprise mechanic.
Can you,
yes.
for the uneducated like myself, explain to me, what are the benefits of these cards? What are they used for?
Sure, happy to. I actually got into Ultimate Team with FIFA 21 last year.
We can show you up about it.
I know, I was really enjoying it. So basically, it's kind of like, imagine like a card collection like you would have done with like baseball cards, right? Like back in the 50s, right? So you collect your baseball cards, and you got your really good baseball players, in this case football players. You got a David Beckham, Manchester United era, silver foil wrapped special platinum edition, or whatever they want to call it, and therefore rare, and therefore more powerful, but the difference with FIFA is you're not just collecting them for the sake of it. You then make a team out of those cards, which you will then go online. You can play single player, you can play multiplayer against other people, and therefore the better cards you have with the better stats, the better team you have, the more competitive you are, and the sort of higher through the ranks you will progress. You know, and if you're a professional at this in esports, which there are,
almost like a play to win feature, essentially, to get the better characters.
It's not pay to win, because it's the same mechanic for everyone. So you can't really argue that you're paying to win if everybody's paying to win, because you're all dealing.
Spending €1,000 on a
but that's your choice.
That's your choice. Pay to win. The more money you put in, the better the chances are you're going to win.
By playing, you accrue. By playing, you accrue points, and those points are the same kind of currency as you get from paying, and therefore you do get. Whenever I've played it, I put like an hour in, and I'm going to have enough to get loads of packs anyway. So the difference is there are the premium packs which do increase, will give you an increased chance of getting the good stuff. And they are often the ones behind the paywall. But you still have a chance of getting these cards. And I've got some good ones from just playing. Absolutely. I've got some really nice players in my team. But, you know, I'm not as nearly... I've spent, I think, £5 on this total. I bought some currency for a £5 just to sort of try it to see what it was like. And I can see it. If you're deep into this, if you're like an esports pro and you're doing this at a top level, you're going to want those best players. So that temptation to do this grey market of getting stuff from someone else who's got them, you know, outside of the game almost. I can get it. I understand that. But it's questionable morality. I don't think you can argue from an ethical point of view of, you know, should somebody spend that money? That's their choice, and that's the mechanic, that's the system of the game, and you choose or not to engage with it. So the question comes in about around this person that's been working for EA who's supposedly done this. You know, what potential criminality is going to be associated with doing what he's done, and they're looking into it, they're investigating it. It's an interesting one. I'll be interested. I mean, it's almost like they would encourage. It's almost encouraged, isn't it? How can you resist this? You working at EA, you're immersed in this microtransaction environment. You are the purveyors and the people that propagate this mechanic. They're like the biggest perpetrator of these MTX type mechanics is EA, I would say. While 2K gets in it, EA kind of did it first with Ultimate Team, and they have really, you know, pushed hard into this. You can kind of almost like I'm not surprised. I'd be surprised if it hadn't happened before and it just hasn't come out. That would be the surprise. So
I doubt this is the first time this is happening. It can't be. It's too obvious.
So there's pictures and like investigations in the Eurogamer article, and if you really want to get into the more nitty gritty, the details of all this, it is quite interesting. I find this sort of stuff very interesting when it comes to what goes on in stuff within the gaming communities of specific games. You know, it is very centric just on FIFA 21. Like, it's really all about that one game because it does have a rabid fan base and it's hugely popular. And the MTX mode, Ultimate Team, is a really fun mode. Like, you basically make your dream football team. Like, you can you know, all the players that you remember from your childhood, you could go down that route. You could go down, like, I'm going to make the best flipping Brazilian squad of just Brazilian footballers you've ever heard of, or German or French. You know, you really can make that. And if you're into the sport, it's a fantastically fun thing to do. But yeah, man, you could spend, like, you know, the previous stories you hear about this is little Jimmy got mummy's credit card and spent $2,000 on Ultimate points. Yeah, that's the stories you normally hear. But this is different. This is like the highest level players being willing to spend thousands on a single card. I mean, that's
nuts in itself.
But is it though, Rob? You're a part of the Magic community. You're part of the Pokemon community. That happens all the time.
How expensive some single cards are. Richard Garfield, I believe it was him, or it was another really, really big propagator of Magic, said that no Magic card should be worth more than £20 or $20. No single card is. We had one card recently that sold for over $500,000.
Yeah,
it's capitalism. It's a
supply
huge
and demand.
Yep. Yeah, supply and demand.
It's no different to what we've been talking about for the last few months with PlayStation 5s and Series X's and the scalpers. I know sex, yes, good old sex. I know from sort of being once more on the inside of the Magic side of things, it was fascinating to read the stories and get the bulletins from Wizard about how they were going to try and crush the grey market, how they were going to try and clamp down on the third party. It never worked. They never could achieve it. It never happened. Like, they tried all kinds of weird things to incentivize legitimate purchases and to prevent or decentivize like this market, but it never ever happened. It never succeeded.
The thing is, they don't try those things. They don't do them. It doesn't succeed, and all they do is drive the prices up, which is something I will happily wax lyrical on at some point at a different juncture.
On a new podcast.
Yeah,
Card
this
talk.
is not the forum for me to go into full detail about how ridiculously low effort Wizards have been about that sort of thing, because it strikes me that EA aren't exactly sad that this publicity is happening, because it shows the sheer amount of value that there is in the Ultimate Team product. You know, that people are willing to spend this much. You can guarantee some of their accountants are sat there going, we could make some more surprise mechanics off of this. Guarantee it.
Yeah, I mean, it is crazy. I mean, people will spend money on, on rare things and high quality things. That's amazing. I mean, there was a Charizard, a shiny first edition Charizard. I remember seeing went for, it was like $350,000, I think, at the time for just one card, which is nuts.
Yeah,
So
let's talk about something that is better value. Shall we do that?
Yes.
Shall we do that?
Very
Let's flip this on the head and talk about something that's good value, and that is the fact that Games Workshop are giving away 12 Steam games with the next issue of White Dwarf, which is about to come out in the next sort of week or so.
March 19th.
Yes, the problem is, where the hell do you go to buy this magazine during lockdown?
News agents.
Are they open? Is that a thing?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
Actually,
I don't know.
I do live very near a WH Smith, so I am probably going to take a little wander down next Saturday to try and get hold of this, because you're getting some bloody good games in here.
Should we go through the list?
Yeah, so freebies starts off with Warhammer Vermintide 2, which is pretty great. Total War Warhammer,
Very good.
which, considering the third iteration of that game is coming out later this year, if you get this game and redeem the code, you'll be able to use the races in Total Warhammer 2's or Total Warhammer 3's Grand Campaign. So that provides long-term value. I'll be giving the code I purchased to you then, because I have the game already.
Well, what I've heard, not as easy as that, it's one code for all 12.
Oh.
Yeah. So I'm fine if you see 2 copies of this. Pick up 2 and I'll pay you for one of them. That's fine, for example. Happy to do that. But yeah, I've heard it's like it's like a bundle code.
A big code,
yeah,
okay.
Yeah, and that's fair, because it's like you can understand them, but not wanting to saturate trades and stuff and just spraying it out everywhere. So I kind of understand that. That's fine. I don't got an issue with that. So where do you go? We're going to mention Warhammer Vermintide, Total War Warhammer. We've got
a DLC pack for Total Warhammer 1 as well. Then you have Warhammer 40,000 Dawn of War.
Great game.
Very good game. I prefer Dawn of War 2, but I'll take it. 40k Space Marine, which is just a really fun third-person action game that you rip orcs to shreds. It's just really fun. Warhammer Underworlds Online, Warhammer Quest 2, The End Times, Talisman Digital Edition, Adeptus Titanicus Dominus, Warhammer 40,000 Sanctus Reach, Warhammer 40,000 Armageddon Da Orcs.
Da Orcs, man, Da Orcs.
Space Wolf. Further down you get that list, the less popular and well-known the games get.
Yes, you get to some obscure territory by the end of that list.
100%, yes.
So, yeah.
The standouts there are the top 4, I would say, if we ignore the DLC.
No, you're not. Yeah, I was going to say, Space Marine's an awesome game.
Yeah.
Holy crap, that's a cool game.
I don't really treat the DLC pack as a thing here, but the top 4, Vermintide 2, Total Warhammer, Dawn of War, and Space Marine, are worth it alone for the £6 this magazine costs you.
Yeah, and I mean, I've had a look. I think it was Sanctus Reach and I think this, what was it, Armageddon. Those 2 on Steam alone, I think, are still about £20-30, I think, for those 2 games alone.
I believe Total War Warhammer is actually still £40.
Yeesh.
They go on sale a lot, but this is still really cool, and this is like, look, I've never been a tabletop miniatures gamer, but the Warhammer universe has always appealed to me in video game form. I've always had really good fun, especially in the Space Marine side of it, in the 40k world. And but even the fantasy stuff is cool too. I mean, I really look forward to trying Total War Warhammer, for example, now that I've got a rig that can do it justice. I mean, look, guys, while we're still in Nerdland, there was some other news that Cam mentioned to Rob, as if Rob should know what the hell it was. Rob had no idea. So Cam, tell us what this news.
It's not something I've seen. Cam, take us through it.
Yeah, take us through this Games Workshop news. Yeah.
So apparently, you have to be an amazing fan of Warhammer compared to Rob to actually know who these people are.
I know who the people are. I know about this product.
I tell you what, these dirty casuals, Cam, eh? What can you do?
So,
kids these days.
So what Games Workshop has done is they have hired this creator. I've currently lost the name right now, but they're also known as Astartes, to make official Warhammer shorts, Warhammer 40k shorts. They made like a 5-part animated series so far of Warhammer 40k fan made, and it is brilliantly done. The choreography, the animation of it is all brilliant. And you just watch like some of those big hulking soldiers and like full battle armor just mowing down full armies basically in front of them, and it's done brilliant. I'm not a huge fan of 40k. I'll be honest, I haven't played 40k. I know, Rob, you can shoot me daggers later, but I'm a fan of animation, and I like looking at how different people do different things, and I'm really impressed by these little videos that have gone up.
I'm gonna check these out. I'm looking at some stuff now, and it does look flipping awesome. Yeah.
And now Games Workshop has come along, and they've basically said, "Hey, look, why don't you come and do some, official projects for us with 40k?" I know, Rob, you said earlier you might be a bit dubious at this.
Wary of this, because if Games Workshop can charge for a thing, they will. So I can see this being locked behind a paywall, which is depressing, because the amount of quality of work and the amount of detail that's gone into the creation of Astartes is phenomenal. I've seen like little bits of it, but I've never watched one like the whole way through. And I worry what's going to happen, whether Games Workshop are going to be how they are, or whether they're going to go, you're still community. It's just this way you get our name attached to you, and you can use some of our like 3D assets and stuff like that. That's what I'm hoping they turn around and do. But I'm worried that they're going to go, no, community want this stuff. That's fine. Give us a $5.
That'd be cool. I mean, it sounds like it'd be great, because if Games Workshop are willing to put some of the money into it, obviously.
Well, we're having some issues there with Cam. Are you having issues as well, Rob?
Indeed, I am.
Yeah, he's broken up. Oh, you're back. Are you back, Cam? Hello.
Oh, sorry. Apologies. Sorry. I was just saying, like, if Games Workshop comes in and puts some of the money forward for these videos, it could be that we get an even higher quality of animation coming our way, which would be great, because the quality we already have is fantastically done.
Absolutely. I mean, if it only means more cool videos, like in this interesting world that's fun to watch, can't be bad, can it? Can't be bad.
Not at all.
Final kind of news story before we get into everything Xbox, of which there was quite a lot in the last week. I just want to mention that what was it, like a week or two ago, when we were I remember bringing up that story in which there was like these phishing emails about getting early access to a game, and
yes,
what game was that? I can't bloody remember now what it was, but it's kind of happened again. So Capcom, I actually got one of these emails. It was sent out to like PR and press and stuff, saying, "Oh, by the way, if you get an email saying here's an early invitation to play Resident Evil Village, it's not legit." And I mean, my response was, "Yeah, duh." But like at the same time, I guess some people would be won over by that prospect and get excited. And basically, it's a phishing attempt, and it's going to require you to hand over personal information, which will then probably compromise you in various ways. So do ignore that. So PSA, if you do get one of those, it's not legit. It's not something Capcom's doing. So bear that in mind. I just think it's interesting that there's been like a spate of these. It's that these phishing attempts targeting specifically influencers and YouTube gamers and stuff like that, and Twitch streamers, to try and take advantage of them and take advantage of that early scoop mentality and getting early access to something that they're excited about. And I think it's kind of horrible and cynical, and it's not a good thing, is it? It's not nice. Don't do that.
It's not great, is it?
Yeah, but that's like a little PSA for everyone. So yeah, Microsoft has been busy in the last week or so, because they've kind of been, they got their Bethesda merger thing. It's all signed and dotted on the line. US, EU, they're all good with it. Nobody's coming after them. So confirmed, finalized. They had like a round table discussion, which didn't really have a lot of information about anything new in it. However, it did result in an announcement of some titles coming to Game Pass. I say some. How about a crap ton? Is a better way of describing it. All of the games.
It's got the Bethesda name attached to it. It's coming to Game Pass unless it's part of an exclusivity deal, I think.
Pretty much. I mean, yeah. So, I mean, in addition to that, there are unconfirmed reports that we are seeing like some kind of Microsoft showcase as well coming towards the end of March, where they're going to show off some. I think they've said some new tech and maybe some new games about what's coming, but we don't know exactly what it is yet. And that's going to be sort of. People have said March 23. People have said March 26. Nobody's 100% on that yet. It's not properly confirmed, but it sounds like that's coming a bit sooner than we expected, because we knew we were going to get stuff in the summer with E3, where E3 would have been. So stuff was going to happen like it did last year, but yeah, I think we might get something even sooner than that from Microsoft. So that's quite exciting.
We will of course do like a full breakdown and cover it in our weekly podcast after that has aired. We will of course go through all the news, so we'll keep you up to date with that.
So I mean, in addition, we're going to go over the Bethesda games in a bit. We'll do that at the end of this. But I want to also talk about some of the wording coming out from Phil Spencer regarding exclusivity. Because when we mentioned this to Cameron, he was not a happy man about this at all. So basically, the kind of terminology, my takeaway from it is, well, yeah, of course, there's going to be exclusives in Bethesda games. We are going to have exclusives. We did it to really like bolster Game Pass as well, and in addition the wording was games will be exclusive to platforms where Game Pass exists, which is a really interesting way of putting it from Phil Spencer there. It's kind of like putting the gauntlet down to PlayStation, Sony, and saying, if you're willing to take Game Pass, then you can have these Bethesda games. If you're not,
such an interesting thing. You fire your PlayStation 5 to sign into Microsoft Game Pass.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine? Like,
it leaves a taste on my tongue that I am not happy with.
So I mean, what games would it have been, Cam? Like, what was it you were looking forward to that you might now be bummed out because you can't get going on?
The major ones for me are always going to be the Elder Scrolls series. You know, if a 6 comes out and it's only on Xbox, that's probably one of the rare few games that I might, if they did a bundle, I'd probably get an Xbox with Elder Scrolls 6 come out. That's the only viable way I can see me having an Xbox right now. It's for Elder Scrolls 6. But you know, if some future like Fallout games, I mean, I recently finished Fallout 4, and that was great. Really nice jump from like the last game I played, which I think was only New Vegas. So seeing something extra come out of it, you know, again, if it's stuck on Xbox, I don't think I'll get the Fallout, but definitely if it's an Elder Scrolls game.
What about Starfield?
I've never played that.
Well, it's new.
Because it's not out yet.
Yeah, it's what they're making. It's what's coming out before Elder Scrolls 6. So it's the big sci-fi space.
Skyrim in space.
Yeah,
Okay,
Elder Scrolls in space.
I haven't even looked into that one. I didn't even know.
There's not a lot out there yet, but
all we've got is a 30-second teaser image or teaser trailer. That's it.
I love tease, so I'm okay with that.
Get all excited, baby. Get hyped for it. Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
sounds interesting. I mean, I don't. I'm trying to think of any similar games that sound like that, kind of like a Skyrim in space. Can you think of any that are kind of like that?
Not. I mean, there aren't really, is there? If you think about it, like that kind of first-person RPG. There's the Outer Worlds, which came from Obsidian, which is probably the closest thing that came out last year. I think it was, or the year before.
That was closer to Fallout in space.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's the same game, right? Fallout, Skyrim, it's basically the same thing. But I mean, like,
wasn't it by previous Bethesda developers, wasn't it? Or...
Yeah, it was Obsidian, and it was people that obviously they'd made Fallout New Vegas, for example.
Ah, right.
Obsidian. So yeah, there was definitely some lineage and connective tissue there, and that's got that kind of feel to it. Yeah, I would say that was the closest you've got to it. But yeah, not exact though. You know, so how do you do it? Like, it's going to be really curious, because is it like one planet? Are you traveling between planets? Like, if you are, then like, what's the scope of the ones you go to? Like, how big are they? How much can you do? How much? So there's going to be. I'm really curious. Is like, how do they handle traveling around? Is it like Mass Effect? Are they going to just like, you know, jump between like locations like they do in Elder Scrolls Online, without, you know, because you get a real. I don't know if you guys have played much ESO, or for that matter Fallout 76, but there's a real lack of like connection to some of those locations. You just sort of jump about, don't you? Like teleport to Morrowind, teleport to Skyrim, teleport to all these different territories. They don't really feel like they're on the same planet, which they're meant to.
They're just kind of like waypoint pillars that you just interact with and go, that way, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah, so you could do something like that, but I think the problem with something like that is it doesn't feel like a contiguous universe. It just feels like different biomes that you teleport to. So
Yeah,
I don't know.
I'll go with that. Yeah,
I don't love that. Hope they don't do that.
Some sort of like hyperspace portal, that'd be nifty. It'll be a bit more reasonable excuse than just here's a fireplace, chill out and travel at the same time.
So you said if they changed them from like waypoint, like you said, like pillars, and made them into like wormhole entrances, you'd be cool with that.
It's more logical than just a fire in the middle of nowhere.
I'm sure they'll be happy to hear that that's okay. It makes it a lot easier.
They've been awaiting the experience.
Bethesda, hire me.
What was that, Rob?
They've been awaiting the experience kills judgment on how to traverse the Starfield.
Now that's come up, we're set. We're all good. So yeah, there's kind of like a lot coming out of Bethesda. We're going to go over the games a minute. I just want to touch on this other thing that Rob. I love this. Rob's had an Xbox One for ages, right? He didn't even realize this kind of existed, which is like says everything you need to know about this thing, right? So when the original Xbox One. It's so hard to talk about this stuff. It gets so confusing. So the OG Xbox One, the Don Matrick era Xbox One, when that came out, Microsoft was doing this thing where it was all about giving us this multimedia, cross-entertainment, device that wasn't just about games. It was going to be about movies and TV and all of this and come together. And therefore, that device, all the way through that generation, all the way up to the Xbox One X, had a HDMI in and out port. So you could take your set-top box or your Freeview or whatever, plug it into your Xbox One, and then plug that into the TV. And then to sort of facilitate that TV integration, they had something called One Guide, which was basically an EPG, an electronic program guide, that was directly linked in the interface within Xbox, so you could pick the channels, get the channel information, and it would work across, your Microsoft sort of film entertainment app and your TV stuff and all of that, and it would all integrate together. And it was a big push, and it was a big thing for a good couple of years of that generation. See, Cam doesn't know about this. Nobody knew about this. Like nobody. For a while, I used it, but a very short while because it wasn't great and it wasn't well implemented, and I just went back to using the Skybox by itself, sort of thing. But
it sounds like Xbox One with Freeview.
Yeah, basically, yeah, it was, exactly that, Cam. But it didn't have the built-in tuner. You'd have to plug that device in, and they did sell. I think there was like a Freeview add-on you could get for the Xbox One, which would give you like that ability if you didn't have a third-party one. So you could do it's crazy, but it was all built in. But basically, the news is this is getting switched off, and that's basically them saying this crazy direction we went is done. This is done. Because the new one, Series S and X, they don't have the HDMI in and out. They only have an out. So they've already hardware gone, this is done. And now in software, they're going to basically completely remove the vestiges. And they've already done a lot of that with the updates to the dashboard. The ecosystem would have evolved a lot and de-emphasized a lot of those areas already, which is why someone like Rob wasn't even... You wouldn't have even seen it if you knew to look for it. If you didn't know to look for it, you'd never even known it was there. So it was like they've already done that in the last good few years. But now it's... The line is drawn. No more.
A good choice, I feel.
I think so. I think so. And the other final bit of news that's come out of all this Bethesda stuff is we've got more FPS boost stuff coming for things like Fallout 4 and other games. So we're going to get that crazy ability, the 30 frames games are going to become 60 frames per second games and all of that madness and badass tech. And it's going to, basically, there's going to be a new system update coming soon as well, which is going to give you the ability on a game-by-game basis to either enable or disable the auto HDR and the frame boost for the games that support it. So you can decide to either play it in the OG style, or you can put on some bells and whistles and the post-processing that gives us these really incredible technical kind of improvements to these games. And they're going to be, I think we're going to just see more and more of these games. It's going to probably focus a lot on games in Game Pass, which makes complete sense.
Yeah.
But if you can double the frames and give me HDR in all these Xbox One games, and really improve them, it's a win, isn't it? It's just a win. You can't
definitely
argue with it. It's fantastic.
So you've teased us for a while. What are this list of games that's coming to Game Pass?
So it's I think you said it. You nailed it. It's all of them. So let's go through it. Let's go through the Bethesda list, and I'll tell you which ones I've played. Well, I'll tell you which ones I haven't played. So Dishonored Definitive Edition on console, PC, and cloud. Do I need to say that for all of them? Yeah, well, some of them aren't on cloud, so I probably shall. Dishonored 2, console, PC, cloud. Doom, original Doom, which actually got a re-release and a re-wrapper and stuff recently, which brilliantly with Doom 2, Doom 1 and Doom 2, it has got mod support on consoles now, which is so cool.
Oh, really?
Not for like all the mods, but there are like up to about half a dozen on each where you can, complete TCs, total conversions of the game. So it's like not just here's a different gun, but like new levels, new sounds, new monsters, like really cool mods. So Doom 1 and 2, Doom 3, Doom 64, which came out recently when Doom Eternal came out. So also Doom Eternal, because Doom 2016 was already on there. Elder Scrolls 3 on console and PC. Elder Scrolls 4, console and PC. Elder Scrolls 5, Special Edition of Skyrim, console, PC, cloud. Elder Scrolls Online, cloud and console. And I thought that was already free to play, but maybe I was wrong. Evil Within, which is a decent kind of Resident Evil inspired horror game by Tango Works, which is a pretty cool game from a few years ago, but published by Bethesda, so that's coming as well. But not Evil Within 2. I think they had a different publisher, annoyingly. Fallout 4, console, PC, cloud. Fallout 76, console, PC, cloud. Fallout New Vegas, console. I think that might be because it was already on PC, but I could be wrong. Prey.
60 title, I think.
Sorry, what happened?
It's an old 360 title, I think, New Vegas, wasn't it?
Yeah, but I think the Game Pass version was already on PC. I could be wrong. Prey, the new Prey, which is very good if you've not played it. I prefer it to Dishonored. I prefer it to those ones. So I think Prey is a flipping awesome game. So check that out if you haven't already. Really, really good. Rage 2, which is a lot of fun, if a bit obvious, I guess. It's not the most innovative shooter, but it's done very well. Wolfenstein New Order, Wolfenstein The Old Blood, and Wolfenstein Youngblood, all on console, PC, and cloud. And if you've not played the Wolfenstein games, they are some of the best modern first-person shooters you will ever play. They are fantastic.
I'm still getting through that series myself.
They're so good. Youngblood is meh, but New Order and...
The original Wolfenstein, that was, I think, an Xbox One launch title or something, very old. I really struggled with it. Really did not enjoy it.
Okay.
Gunplay is not Bungie level of quality, which is what I expect.
It's different. It kind of there's a stealth element to that game, which it kind of encourages you to try to be stealthy, and then it's all about dual wielding when it goes wrong. Yeah, basically. So it is different, but.
The fact that Rage 2 is on the list is interesting because Rage 2 is already on Game Pass.
It may not have been.
Yeah, it was.
It may not have been available on all console and PC.
Yeah,
potentially it could be that it's then essentially becoming an evergreen title on Game Pass.
Well, these will all either be evergreen because they're owned by Microsoft, so they're not going to come off the service now, are
they? Before they may have been subject to yes, it can be on for a year. Now they're on forever.
Yeah, I think that happened with Doom. A few of those Bethesda games came and went. Like Fallout 4, I think, came and went. And there's now come back for good, which is pretty exciting. That's an incredible addition to that Game Pass library. Some real modern classics in there, and some diverse games as well. I know while there's a lot of first-person perspective there, they are very different first-person games. A lot of those, so well worth checking out if you haven't already delved into that Bethesda catalog. I was going to say I'd mention which games I hadn't played. You may have noticed I didn't say any.
Indeed.
So there's not a lot on there for me, but that's okay. There's still other stuff to do. So I think that brings us to the end of the news, and we're going to move into topic. You're adding a news story here, and I'm watching you do it. I didn't think that was a. I didn't think that was a story worth mentioning, but you can if you want.
Brought it up for previous casting so far, so why break tradition?
Okay? Because it was like nobody even knows who that is.
And also it's an original character they've been cast as. Oh no, Krieg.
Yeah, it's Krieg. It's not original.
That's right. So for those of you who may not know the actor, Ben, a gentleman called Florian Munteanu, who played Ivan Drago's son in Creed 2, the boxing legend that he was. He is going to be playing Krieg in the upcoming Borderlands film alongside Cate Blanchett, Jack Black, and Jamie Lee Curtis. He looks like he could fit the part because that dude is stacked, okay? And Krieg is one of my favorite characters from Borderlands 2. Mm-hmm. He's mental from start to finish, quite literally. And the DLC that we had for Borderlands 3 as well, where you went into Krieg's mind, was just as insane, and it was brilliant. So hopefully we can. How dare you?
It was a rush job of a DLC. There was a quest where you had to turn around, look at the objective, and then turn it in.
I like it.
And that is what is funny in Borderlands. That's what they
No.
consider a joke.
It's lazy.
Hey,
I mean, that's
hey,
fair. That's another way of
if you
describing
can't-
Borderlands. So,
If you can't get behind a game that gave you a mission,
Rob, you
to
said it,
shoot
mate.
a
You
man-
said it, Rob. Don't roll your eyes.
If you can't get behind a game that gave you a mission to shoot a man called Facey McShooty as a mission, not in the leg, not in the arm, not in the gut, but shoot him in the face.
Not Borderlands 3.
I know, but if you can't get behind an entire series just for a great gag like that,
Great gag.
what's wrong with you?
Really creative. Really good. Yeah, okay.
But no, I'm actually quite excited about that. To be fair,
I don't mind the shooting in Borderlands, but I can't stand anybody that tries to defend just the worst writing and the worst plotting you'll see in any shooting game. But it's just
It's
so
brilliant.
bad.
I've always liked the writing and the plot.
And yet you don't like Saints Row. It's just it doesn't make any sense.
Saints Row's fine. Saints Row 4 was a bit naff, to be honest. Anyway, but we're digressing.
We wrap that up. You
Nice.
you ruined my running order of news, Cam. Thank you
Good.
so much
There
for that.
was another Borderlands casting as well.
Oh my God, really?
Yes, there was, but this is a relatively unknown actress. I can't
More,
remember
hold
her
on.
name.
More unknown than dude who was boxing's son in Creed 2.
Oh, he is a boxer.
More unknown than that. How is that possible?
I'm
But
just
go
gonna
on.
say past Ben at this point. She is playing a original character that is apparently the key to the backstory of Lilith, which should be interesting because that could give an indication of the direction in which this is going, is to explore Kate Blanchett's backstory.
It's going
So-
straight towards most Razzie nominations for any single film in all of history. I think this is where we're going for this. By the way, if you don't know what a Razzie is, it's the terrible Oscars. So awards for worst performance, awards for
sounds
worst
like-
writing. So
It sounds like if that's the way it's going to go, it's going to be an instant cult classic, much like Tommy Wiseau's
Cult-
The Room.
FYI, cult classic doesn't necessarily mean shit. It's like shit films are just shit films. They're not all cult classics. Don't-
Are you saying that Tommy Wiseau's The Room is a fantastic film then?
No, I'm saying it's a shit film. Like it's a terrible film. But the movie Disaster Artists, which is about The Room being made, that's a good movie. But like the Room is not a good movie. Okay, right.
See, the thing that's going to most annoy Ben is the fact that I will take time specifically out to watch this movie.
Yes.
And I have a Blu-ray sat there that he lent me last year. It's like I've not taken the time to watch it yet.
And there's the films you have seen is just like you put it on one hand. Like
I've seen more than 5 films.
I'm not sure you have. I'm not sure.
I have.
From
There are
beginning to
20
end.
films in the MCU alone. 24 films I've seen.
You could almost just say they were one big film, though, couldn't you? Really?
It sounds like compared to watching the film that Ben's lent you, you'd rather watch the Snyder cut of Justice League out in the next few weeks. Just
that is legitimately what I'm going to be spending my time on Thursday next week doing, is watching the Snyder Cut.
And I think I'll watch it too, but I think it's fair to say we'll all come away from it and go, still sucks. Yep, that film still sucks. Just longer now. Still sucks.
But if it's
I
still
don't.
better than the previous release version, though, I'm still going to call that a win.
Well, sure, that'd be better is better, but still probably sucks. Like you can only polish a turd so much. Like so, we've already seen 2/3 of the movie and we know it's not good. So what's an extra third gonna do?
Actually, no. We've seen about an eighth to a tenth
about
of the
right.
movie.
I reckon
We've
it's
seen
gonna
a
be
tiny
I
amount of the
reckon
movie.
there's going to be so much more of the original in there than you think. So much more.
Well, I'm going by what's been officially announced by Zack Snyder. So
He's marketing it. He's trying to get people to watch it. I bet you. He's going to be all over the eye. It was like the what was the other one he did the extra long cut for? Was it Batman vs Superman? Yeah. I watched that and it was like, nah, that's just still bad. It's just longer now. So it's just more bad.
Ben is optimistic about Thursday. So
Should we move on to the topic? Because this
shall we move on
this
to the topic before we begin debating further?
this transgression is not my fault. So I'm just saying I'm not taking the blame for this one. Right. So we got a topic here, which is now we're in the 3rd month of 2021, and it's looking like we're not going to get a huge amount of AAA releases this year due to COVID. I think we're going to get some indie stuff, but it's not going to be the busiest gaming year, I think, for new releases. So, what games from 2020 or before are you thinking you might finally get a chance to play or finish or give more time to that you just never got round to previously? What back catalogue titles are the top of your list to actually smash and go through? Who wants to go first?
I've only really got one. That's the thing, though. I mean, a lot of the games that I get, even if I didn't play a lot of them to start with, I do get back into and I finished. Like Assassin's Creed Origins, which I dropped for quite a while, but now I finished, and now I finish Odyssey as well now. Both fantastic games. But the only one I'm really missing out on, from your perspective at least, especially, is the Wolfenstein series. I got maybe a third, maybe halfway through like the first game. I was enjoying it, but then other stuff happened, or I had to return back to work, that sort of thing. So I kind of dropped a lot of game time that I had before. That I'm just trying to make up for now. But now that I have the time, I'm playing the stuff that's come out now that I'm trying to play. So Wolfenstein, I definitely have to go back and play.
Yeah, I mean, I think the two core entries, Old Blood and New Colossus, are really excellent. They're some of my favourite gaming moments of the last few years, especially New Colossus. Like towards the end of that, it's absolutely excellent. So I do really recommend checking that out. Yeah, 100%.
And when it comes out, it'll be the Mass Effect.
New Colossus is not coming to Game Pass, which is something to bear in mind.
That's interesting, or at least not in that wave, or is it not already on Game Pass? I don't know.
Wolfenstein the New Order, Wolfenstein the Old Blood, and Wolfenstein the Young Blood are all coming, but the others are not.
I mean, New Colossus isn't on that list, but is it? It might already be on Game Pass, is what I'm saying. I don't know. Sure. I'd have to look, but I'd be surprised if it wasn't or isn't going to. But yeah. I mean, I think the Wolfie games are just great shooters, like really, really good. Not maybe as good as the reboots of Doom 2016 and Eternal, but still solid, like really, really good fun. I've got one on my list which always upsets everybody when I tell it to them, which is God of War. And it's like that. I can see how incredible that game is. I know how great that game is. You can tell from the first 2 minutes the production value and how it feels and how it plays. You know you're going to have a great time. However, I've never even got to like the open world bit of that game where it opens up. I never even got out of the first area. I think I got to the fight with some Norse guy, and then that was kind of it. That's as far as I went, and I don't really know why I stopped. Like I bought it, I got it at the launch, I was really hyped for it, and I just sort of didn't continue. So that one's quite high on my list, and maybe I can finally polish that off in 2021 now we're going to have some downtime and quiet time and stuff like that. And what about you, Rob? You see it's on your list as well.
Indeed. I started God of War. I did a bit of God of War, but then I got distracted. I have quite a few. So in one of my gaming Hall of Shame moments, I've never actually completed Skyrim.
How much time did you spend with Skyrim?
Kill me. I don't know.
A lot or a little?
A medium amount.
Okay.
I remember I did get up to one point where you had to fight Alduin, and it was on top of a mountain, and I was not leveled up enough, and he creamed me, and I got stuck there. I was stuck there for 2 days, and I never beat that fight, and could not be bothered. So I never went back because then something else came out and got distracted, etc., 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 etc. So I'm probably going to turn around and go back to this fight and go back to the game and probably just start from fresh to try and achievement gather my way through.
That is the Skyrim curse though, right there. The amount of people that will play 30 hours of Skyrim, walk away from it for 6 months, a year, and then be like, I'm just going to start again. And it's like a cycle. And then it's like the same thing happens a year later. Same thing happens a year after that. Same thing happens a year after that. And it's like the amount of times I've started Skyrim, it's insane.
Thing is, though, back when I was heavily playing Skyrim, this was back on PS3, and I had the DLCs, and like I have multiple characters for different things because
different builds.
Basically, back on not even builds, because if I do too much in Skyrim on like one playthrough, the lag
it breaks on PlayStation, doesn't it?
It breaks basically, yeah. So I'd have to have like one character built up, and maybe I'd make a save point when it gets to a decent enough level, and then I'd break off and do like the story missions on that one, and then like I'd reload it, and then he would go off and he'd do the Dark Brotherhood. Or I'd start a new guy for a wizard to do the College of Winterhold, that sort of thing. Because if I try to do all of them in one game, it just doesn't load. It's just the FPS just drops.
There's a big problem with the way the PS3 handled the save files. Yeah, they just got exponentially huge, and it couldn't handle it. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, so I used to have like 4 or 5 characters in the game. Like PS4 was a bit easier because I finished it and I did all the DLCs and stuff. And the only reason I got on PS4 is so I can play it with a fresh perspective by downloading some mods for a laugh. You know, where I could actually really, really dig around properly with the game.
Yeah, some decent mod support on console. Decent, not as good, nowhere near as good as PC, but decent.
Of course, yeah. And PC, obviously, that's where you can get some like ridiculously either overly gory or risque elements.
I'm tempted
following around in chainmail bikinis and stuff.
Now you've mentioned it. You can make Skyrim look insanely lovely on PC now. And now that I've got a nice rig, I'm thinking, perhaps it's time to try that out and like find out what the load order is for Skyrim, the prettiest pretty game ever, and try that. I am curious.
The silly thing that I did, which nearly melted my previous computer before I got this wonderful one I have now, is that I downloaded, and it took me a couple of days to do properly, but I basically downloaded all of the texture packs basically of Skyrim and then replaced all of them in Morrowind with those packs. So I was playing Morrowind with like Skyrim graphics. It took me ages to do, and it nearly broke my computer.
I mean, many people would argue Morrowind is a better game than Skyrim. Just better, like mission design, better world design, more interesting, more varied. But I think the problem is that Skyrim is a lot more playable. Yes. I think that's the difference, is that Morrowind feels like what it is, which is a old ass PC game. Yeah. So and Oblivion's the weird ugly step kid in the middle. So
yeah, it really is. But I mean, like if they did a re-release of Morrowind,
you mean a remake?
But full on, yeah. Even if it's just Skyrim graphics rather than next gen, Sky Episode 6 graphics, that would fly off the shelves. I think.
It's a lot of Elder Scrolls fans' favorite. Yeah, it's really really popular, Morrowind. But like people often say that. I remember playing Morrowind. My first experience with Morrowind, I've done it on PC since, but was on the original, not the original Xbox One, on the original Xbox. It was actually a console release on the original Xbox. Is when I first played it. It was the first Elder Scrolls game I'd ever played, and it was so bad. It was like everything was like you were playing in fog. The draw distance felt like it was 20 meters away, and you could literally never see anything like until you were on top of it. But it was also that made it really creepy. Like when the big stilt walkers come out of the fog, and you're like, "What the fudge is that?" This huge thing.
I was quite happy to hear the weather agreed with me at my surprise there when you said you played it on the original Xbox. Your window just sort of went.
Yeah, it's a spooky background sounds coming from my end today. That's like, I'm from the Mars. Look out for the beast on the Mars. That's what that.
Also known as Ben on a Friday night.
There was some drinking last night as well. Now you mention it, maybe I was out there, just howling at the moon.
Back to the topic at hand, however.
Oh, I was wondering if I could do howling. I could connect howling from at the moon to a game, if you like.
Go for it. Go on.
In AC Valhalla, their wolves play a big part thematically and as threats in the game, and there's often some howling. You can even ride one. And one of the microtransactions I bought actually was a spectral wolf I can ride instead of a horse.
Wow.
Throughout the world. It's really in keeping with the sort of traditional, authentic feeling 12th century England. Spectral wolf
I
mounts.
remember seeing on like the various tapestries and things, and then like the British Museum, the wolf riding Vikings.
That was me.
That happened.
Coming off with a big axe. That's how I roll, baby.
It's one of those things that I'm... I love the AC games, and how a lot of it is obviously kind of stipulated in science rather than actual magic most of the time. In a sense. Obviously,
so it's that mixture of trying to have some authentic history and then this sci-fi wrapper, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, like the
different.
civilization,
And the ghost
the first
wolves.
civilizations like Spear, for example, in Odyssey is obviously a powerful weapon. So it's not necessarily magic; it's technology. But then you get like a downloadable like skin in Odyssey where you can fly a Pegasus instead of riding a regular horse. So your horse doesn't instantly die as soon as you jump off a mountain. Useful, but then again, you sort of go, hold on. Isn't this kind of meant to be kind of rooted in more actual science? How are they now explaining mythical creatures? And now how are they going to explain, spectral wolves riding across England?
That Pegasus mount in Odyssey.
It takes me a little bit out of the experience of Assassin's Creed.
I mean, that
Each
Pegasus
one of the-
mount in Odyssey was a real bummer because it didn't fly.
Yeah, I was a bit bummed with that.
And those fucking big
I
wings
saw
on it. And
videos,
just
I was
you go
like-
off
I
a
was
cliff
like-
and be like, fly!
It's one of the big things that bothers me about MTXs in a single-player driven experience like Assassin's Creed. It serves no purpose other than to make money.
Yeah.
It's
Because
fun.
all of that
It's fun,
could
Rob.
be done. It could be rewarded through in-game quest chains, like they used to be in Assassin's Creed. You had to go and do tombs to unlock armor sets and all
And
that.
that's
Sort
just
of
that.
stuff.
Don't get me wrong. You can get some stuff for like the Ubisoft Club and stuff like that, but this involved Helix points, I think, which you had to purchase.
Exactly.
But I
You
mean,
can
if you
buy
could claim it
resources.
through, like just at Ubisoft achievements and stuff, that would be brilliant.
Yeah. Like, if they've been, like, rewards for being signed into a Uplay account and you unlock, like, complete mission 4, 30G, and, the Uplay reward is a Pegasus skin, that
That's a
would
bit
be
grim.
better than going, there you go, 11 quid, please.
What do you do with your Pegasus skin? Do you like hang it on the wall as like something to like?
Well, no,
look
you
at me, I killed a
equipped to your
Pegasus.
bloody horse.
The way you described it, yeah, Pegasus skin. And it's just like I've got this like stretched out horse with wings on the wall in your house, and you walk in, you're like, your friends come out, and they're like, Jesus, Rob, what have you done? That was the last Pegasus. Why would you kill it and put it on your wall?
I think there is a...
Sorry, Rob, go on.
I think I'm possibly the minority of gamers that have an issue with fucking MTXs nowadays.
I think we've all just most of us have
It's
accepted
just not needed.
Yeah,
Let's
I
do
will
perfect.
never buy a microtransaction based thing in most single player games.
Yeah.
If it's for a bit of DLC, fair enough. But I'm not going to buy a weapons pack for a single player game or anything like that because at some point they'll probably become as obsolete as previous weapons that you're going to pick up from a boss or something like that. A multiplayer game though, maybe not. It depends on what the sort of thing is. That's the main thing. What else have you guys been playing?
Well, not been playing, but want to go back to.
Yeah.
I really want to play Iron Harvest now that I've got a PC that can do it justice. After helping Rob with the review for that earlier last year, that looks like such a fun RTS that I want to get into. Just the whole World War One era, but like VTs and dudes and all that crazy kind of mythos, and it looks it looks great. I really want to play some Iron Harvest. I really want to pick that up when it's on sale.
Steampunky sort of world.
Yeah,
War one, isn't it?
yeah. Steampunky, but I don't know if you call it actually. I don't know if that technically is steam. I really don't know. Dieselpunk? Is it dieselpunk more than
Possibly.
steampunk?
I
I think
don't
it
know.
might be more dieselpunk than steampunk, but it's that mixture of like World War One, petrol punk,
Yeah, fuck the environment. Petrol punk.
unleaded punk.
Unleaded 95 punk, please.
How about progressive? So like photovoltaic punk. How about that?
So does this mean we get solar panel punk?
Yeah.
It was just a man.
I like
on a
it.
solar panel
That sounds
going,
quite.
"Puppy!"
That was off the tongue though, doesn't it? Solar
God.
panel punk. Solar panel punk.
I'm waiting for the
Solar
next
panel punk.
Tesla punk game.
Tesla punk.
Uh,
But if you want Tesla punk, there's a great game called Tesla Wars, which me and Rob are a fan of, or Tesla
Yeah.
Force, sorry, which we love.
Tesla Force,
So check
which
out Tesla
Ben
Force.
loves so much he can't remember the name of
I-
at first glance.
Rarely, because
Great, buddy.
I remember the
Great,
previous one, which was Lovecraft versus Tesla, which I felt was easier to remember than Tesla Force. But yes, it's a lot of fun.
Highly recommended, Cam. It's such a good game.
See, put you in your place, didn't you, Cam? You thought you'd been funny.
Yeah, fine,
It's
fine, be like
there
that.
is one of those games. Suck it, bitch.
What else haven't you played, Rob?
Odyssey and Origins. I want to go back to both of them.
and then Valhalla, or not for some reason.
I'm not including Valhalla on this list because it's not a game that I started last year or played a bit last year and
I
want
see.
to continue.
Right. So it's once you
that's very
started,
much-
right?
Yeah, or very have played previously but want to play more of. I would very much want to play more Odyssey and Origins because they were just good fun. but then the ever monolithic Destiny would have just sucked me back in. So
that is my problem as well. It's like I look at what games I'm. Oh, I could finish that, or I could do more of that, or I could play Destiny.
I've only got a couple of hours tonight. I can do a bit of strikes. Yeah.
I run the same strikes that I've played 1,000 times, another 1,000 times, because I just can't stop.
Yeah, but, you didn't get that.
You gotta feed the addiction.
That's it. Just plug it in, baby. Doom Eternal for me is on my list as well, because I want to. Ancient Gods Part 2 is about to come out, and so I've got the DLC for it, or the first one and then the second one. I want to go back and do those. They're meant to be really good.
I haven't done any of the DLCs for Doom Eternal, actually. That is actually something I could do maybe the next weekend. Oh.
Christ. I feel like my house is going to blow over. I do apologise. This is insane. This wind is
you live in
insane.
a terrace. That's impressive.
Yeah, just no. It'd be like not this the whole row. Go poof forwards. Yeah, not great.
Or maybe
great.
not. There's the two houses next to you just stay still, and you just go.
Just the wind is just targeting my house.
Yeah.
That's what it sounds like. Last of Us Part 2 on my list. Just so Richard doesn't like murder me at some point. I did promise him that I would do that. The thing for me is God of War, Last of Us Part 2 games. I've got on PlayStation. I kind of want to wait until I get a PS5 to go back to them. So they'll have all the oomph that can give to those experiences. Especially as when you play Last of Us Part 2. And God of War, it does sound like it's going to try and take off. Even though I've got a Pro, I feel like it might try and fly out the window.
Well, it's fine. You just turn the TV up.
Yeah, put your headphones on and just be like, drown it out. Yeah.
There are games like that, like AC Valhalla, Cyberpunk, Last of Us. I don't really want to touch them until I get myself a PS5. I want that full whack experience out of all of them, rather than have to play it on PS4 and then realize it's just that much better on PS5 and then just be eternally pissed.
That's kind of where I'm at with them as well. Same feeling. Yeah.
I can see another entry on your list, Ben. Cyberpunk. Well, how do I need to ask why this one's listed
again,
on your
Cyberpunk
list?
weasels its way into our podcast.
I couldn't. That's why I put it on there. I said, we don't have any news. I need to add this to my list so that Cameron doesn't feel upset. I had to do it for you, Cam. Yeah, I mean, I've stopped. I've stalled. Like I've stalled on a Valhalla. So I put a good 40 hours into both of those, 40, 50 hours. And yeah, I've just kind of taken a time away. But I'm definitely going to come back to beat them both in the next few months, I suspect. Whereas, some of these games I've barely done, like Yakuza, God of War, and Last of Us, AC and Cyberpunk, and Doom are much more about. I can see that the end is in relative sight. I've already put a lot of time into these, so it's a case of just trying to complete the whole thing, and then you can have a nice. Oh, I've done that, and I will complete definitely Assassin's Creed because I complete all of them, and I think the story how this is kind of the end of this trilogy, and I'll be really curious to see how they sort of tie up the Isu plot with everything else that's happened previously in Origins and Odyssey, and how that all comes together. And I do love all that sci-fi shit. I think it's dumb as crap, but it is kind of entertaining. I think it's really silly and fun. So.
Rob, on your list, you've got down Spider-Man. Now, is that like Miles Morales, or is that the original?
PS4 Spider-Man. I own a PS4 specifically for the exclusives, but I'm too much of an Xbox player to be able to tear myself away from it.
Let's be honest, you're a Destiny simp.
I don't think there is a word that has quite been invented yet to describe my want for Destiny. So, yeah.
Let's put it this way, if there's liquid Destiny, it'd be shooting between your eyeballs.
You make us sound terrible, Cam, but like honestly, I know so many people that are way more into Destiny, and it's literally all they play, and like the levels and the incredible shit they've attained. They've got every exotic, they're always max power level.
Those people, Ben. I only have you two I can rip on for it, okay?
Well, I'm just saying we're not as bad as we could be. We could be much, much worse. This could be a Destiny only podcast. I mean, we can do that if you want, Cam.
I was doing an activity on Destiny last night. I was doing Empire Hunts on Europa, and I was playing with someone who had season rank over 340.
That's crazy.
There are 100 ranks that you have to achieve in 85 days, 90 days or so. He's at 340.
So he literally played it non-stop.
Yeah, basically. I don't think there's been much sleep happening there.
I don't know. My mind is blown by that. I'm approaching 50 and really proud of myself on my season
I'm in
pass.
the low 80s.
Yeah, I mean you're flying. Like I'm impressed by that. Like definitely, but yeah, Destiny, forever Destiny. So I think that's the end of the little topic there. Games that we're going to try and get back into in 2021 from 2020 and before. So let's quickly touch on some of the games we've been playing. Now, I've got to talk about it quickly. I'll start this.
Okay. I was going to say I'm going to start because I'm going to be super quick.
Oh, well, go on then.
Destiny.
Go on then.
Yeah.
What have you got to add?
Finished.
Completed! Nothing left to do.
What a surprise. I've been playing Destiny. That's me sort of done. Ben, you've had an interesting gaming week. Tell us about it.
So this week, I got my rig. I got my new PC showed up. So I've got a 30 series GeForce card in there. I've got a brand new AMD Ryzen processor. I've got 32 gigs of RAM. I've got MSI motherboard. It's got a glass side on it, which I have facing the wall because I don't care about things like that. Things light up in there. I noticed like my graphics card and my processor have got RGB going on. Yeah, I don't give a shit. Like, I really don't care. It's just not what it's about for me. It's funny. I was talking to my brother about this last night because we built a couple of computers together when we were kids, and it's just like it's mad looking in computers now because I remember when everything was just like a snaking miasma of cables, like ribbon cables going here, power cables there. You've got your hard drive connector here, the power going to the drives, the power going to the board. Just a mess of cables. Nobody gave a shit about that. Like nobody cared. And now you look inside a machine and it's just like empty. Like I don't. It's like almost like there's nothing there. Like there's a couple of cables and they're very discreet, and then the ones that are obvious, like the water cooling for me, are all minimal and black and like just almost blend into the motherboard and you can't even see it. And
I can tell you why. It's because there's a separate compartment where the mess of cables exists.
Really?
Yes.
Oh.
So
Guarantee it.
You've got the glass window on one side of your case.
Yeah.
Then you have the empty space in your motherboard, and the metal that it's attached to. There will be a space about that thick, a couple of inch maybe, where all of your cables will be looped inside of.
Oh. Well, it's like I wouldn't have even known that. How would I have known that? I didn't build it, so this is like because I'm lazy.
Exactly.
But that's like black magic. It's like what?
Yeah. Having a professionally built PC means they do all the cable management for you, which is great. Because it means that all of that stuff is hidden away.
I'm going to look for that.
Normal people will look at the components and go, "Ooh, yay, lovely shiny components, yay for RGB." Unlike Ben, who has it hidden against a wall. So
it's like wearing a girdle or a bodice. It just sucks it all in and hides away all the lumps and bumps that you don't want to look at.
I'll go with yes on that one.
I'm wearing one right now. I guess for me, it's almost like I've got a hot new girlfriend, and instead of showing her off, I've put a sack over her and put her in the corner. That's what.
How do your wife is out for that now?
yes. Yeah, sorry. I've upgraded, love. Sorry, but yeah, I'm not showing it off. I'm not
isn't going online anytime soon.
You understand. But it's like it's impressive. I've been basically installing loads of PC games and just like off of PC Game Pass, Steam, flipping Epic. I have like 200 games on Epic, like just whenever they were free. I'm just add them. Twitch as well, like the Twitch games. I've got like 300 Twitch games, which every time they because not it's not Twitch. Is it Twitch?
Twitch Prime.
Twitch Prime. Yeah, thank you. That's what I'm talking about. And so whenever they bring out a new one, I've always claimed it, and I've never bothered with any of them really. They're more indie ones, but I'm just installing. I've got 4 terabytes of storage drive and 500 gig boot, so it's like I've got the storage space now, which is nice. But everything's running beautiful. I mean, it's like everything defaults to high and ultra. Whatever the highest setting is, the game runs at it on this rig, which is just a really nice feeling. Like I'm not having to do any kind of management, And the other thing is the machine can definitely handle 4K, but I consciously made a decision to buy a 1440p monitor instead because I didn't feel the need for a 4K one, and that's great. That's even better because so many of the games want to default to 4K settings, and I drop it down to the 1440p resolution, and that even improves performance even more. So it's just like the frame rate I'm getting in these games is incredible. So
the running joke question is, can it run Crysis on Ultra?
I don't have. I know they re-released Crysis. So I wonder how. Yeah, I should check it out. Then re-release a Crysis. I suspect yes, I have a feeling it would. Yeah, and I've got one game I think I need to check out, which has got like the full ray tracing support, which I know I've got, which is MechWarrior 5 Mercenaries, which I got off of Game Pass randomly. And I went and looked at the options of that, and it's like, oh, RTX. I was like, okay, let's have to try that at some point and see what that's like. And I've got a spare Series X controller now as well, which is now my controller if I don't want to use KBM. That's all set up ready as well, and it's just like, just make it easy. Oh, and then I've got a capture card, so you guys can expect to see footage from things like Nintendo Switch games now. And I've already got all that linked in and running through, so we'll be able to actually capture those games and cover Switch games now. So yeah, I'm all ready to stream. I did a test stream the other day, and it all worked nice straight up onto Twitch. Using OBS, no problems, easy peasy. It's just so expect much more from us in that sort of avenues and things. Now that it's going to be so much easier to produce just about anything. So yeah, that's me. That's basically all I've been doing, playing Civ 6 with all the settings turned up, and Destiny 2, and which was weird, by the way. Never played Destiny 2 with a keyboard before, keyboard and mouse. Playing that the other day with Rob was bizarre, not with a controller. Which is why I sorted the controller
about 15 minutes trying to figure out how to get on your Sparrow.
I did.
Carrying you through the mission.
Everybody else was like zooming off, and I was like, "How do I get the ghost up?" And I was looking at the key bindings,
was
and
killing me carrying you through that.
It was pretty funny. You say that, but it was a Battlegrounds, and you could do it with your eyes closed. So
basically, yes.
Wasn't that hard.
So, Cam, I've seen on your list you have Outriders. What's that been like?
So this is the demo for the Outriders game that's come from Square Enix, and People Can Fly, the guys who brought us Bulletstorm, if you remember that game.
Oh yeah. Painkiller before that.
That was brilliant. And I've been enjoying it. A friend of mine, he's been playing it quite a bit more with his friend, and it's a third-person shooter with kind of a loot and shoot scenario going on. It's sort of like the Division sort of style. Or dare I say, even Destiny. Probably not, because you'll just be rage saying, "It's not Destiny! There's only one Destiny!" And the whole thing is you're set on another planet after the Earth is completely buggered up, with multiple classes that you can choose once you kind of become super powered in a way. And you get to complete missions with drop-in, drop-out co-op with different weapons. It's fun for the couple of hours I've played it so far, but I've got my other friends on coming on later on this afternoon, so hopefully we're going to have like a 3-person team. Let's do a couple of missions to really get a good go on it. It's nice so far, the graphics and everything behind it, and it's an interesting creatures are in there I've come across already. And having quite a bit of fun with it. And there's actually like some actual role-playing elements in it as well. So you can actually talk to NPCs, and there's some dialogue trees as well that you can actually speak to people about. It'll change the outcome of conversations, but I read online that it doesn't actually affect the story's progression, though. So I'm not gonna get turned around and shot in the face for telling someone they're an idiot or anything like that. Quite luckily, because that's usually my go-to response for most things. But it's good though. It doesn't have to rely on co-op though. So it can be played as a single-player game, but obviously with friends, it's always more fun.
Yeah.
Can't wait to play a bit more of that. The interesting thing my friend was enjoying about it is that it's not like a live service title, is what he says. Like it can be started and finished, the game, so it's not like a continuous, like the Division where it can just go on and on and on and on.
Or Destiny,
which is interesting. Yeah, or Destiny. Yeah, or Destiny. God forbid I bring that up again. Which is interesting, because this sort of game I'd expect you can just keep going and going and increase your levels and everything.
So it's not. Hold on. So it's not replayable. It's just a story. Is that what you're saying?
So you can go back to different missions. You can do them on like a harder difficulty to get better loot. Kind of a sort of like in a Diablo sort of scenario. You can increase the Inferno levels, sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, the harder you get it, the better quality and more frequent the loot drops come through.
But it's not. But it's not like designed around repeatable activities. It's more like you replay missions.
Yes.
Oh, okay. That's curious.
You also can't jump.
No.
Really? What? Really?
No jumping, I'm afraid. You can dodge, you can vault over objects, you can climb stuff, but no, you can't jump and jump around.
Yeah.
It's it's cool though because it's a demo,
Okay.
but when the full game comes out, and if you do get the full game though, you keep everything you've done so far though.
That's really cool. I like that.
Character, whatever.
I keep meaning to. Maybe this weekend will be the time. I've had the demo downloaded since it came out, and I've still not got on it, and I need to check it out. Because I quite like the look of it when I was watching videos and stuff, gameplay trailers for it, at the start of the year and things. It's like this is looking pretty good. This is looking pretty cool. So I need to get in that demo and give it a go. I know there's been some critique of it because it feels a bit like it lacks its own personality, and it's a bit of a cross between things like Destiny and Gears of War, and feels like a lot of people have already played it. And that the critique I read was that it's a cover shooter that sort of encourages you not to use cover, which seems a bit at odds.
It's because the characters that you have, once you kind of unlock the class that you want to play as, the different ways that you can play, kind of not saying negates cover, but obviously you can have a more aggressive, approach to taking on enemies.
Okay.
So something like the trickster class, for example, enables you to kind of manipulate time, whether it's slowing them down or just stopping entirely, so you can flank enemies or anything like that. And then you've got some guys who make like giant seismic explosions, for example. So whether or not you want to be out in the open and then just, take them a group down or stun them or whatever you need to do. It kind of however you want your gameplay to go. If you want to hide and cover, but you probably won't get the full in-depth experience of utilizing the powers that you gain.
Okay. Sounds.
It's like
Do you know
playing
what?
Destiny, crouch behind your shield all the time.
Are you playing it? What are you playing it on? PC?
PS4.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
I thought you had a good PC, Cam. I just think we could all play on PC.
It's 7 years old, mind you.
We could all try it on PC. I was just thinking that was all. It'd be nice.
Speaking of 7, I've just finished the Final Fantasy VII Remake. And I enjoyed the hell out of that.
Okay.
I do need to get a month of PS Plus for that.
Yeah, I was thinking about it.
I have Remnant from the Ashes downloaded as well from PS Plus, and I'm just waiting on someone else to actually want to play it with me. I don't want to solo that. I want to play it with a friend or two,
Yeah, I think that game is all about playing it in co-op. From what I've heard, it's all about it's the Dark Souls of shooters, and you need to play it with someone else, otherwise you're just going to get owned.
Yeah, because I mean, we reviewed it together, didn't we? A couple of months ago, I think we did that one, Remnant from the Ashes.
I think so.
Are you sure?
Pretty sure. I've not played it to review anyway. Played a little bit of it on Game Pass, but I don't think I played it to review.
Maybe you might have touched on it from one of our previous casts. Then you were chatting about it.
Yes, I think I brought it up. I think we've spoken about it, but no, I don't remember ever. No, I don't remember us doing a video or anything. But no, I could be wrong. We've done a few.
Yeah, we've been at this for a few years.
I say, do you know what? We actually hit a milestone. Actually, the last podcast audio thing that went up was our 150th kind of separate audio. So that's pretty cool. 150 in the stream.
I like it.
And we've just recently passed, I think, something like 3,000 downloads of podcasts as well, something like that. I don't know, individual downloads, some big number. So it's kind of like, oh, that's cool. Yeah. But yeah, so does that bring? That's a bit of a shorter episode, guys. That's nice. That felt
It doesn't
good.
happen often, I admit.
Does it?
But,
Look at that. I'm only seeing about an hour and 20 on the clock here. That's insane.
Well, that's fine. Let's tangent for the next 40 minutes.
Okay, right. Random topic. What did you guys have for breakfast? Let's do it. Right.
I'll let you know when I have it.
I had a smoked salmon and cream cheese bagel, and it was very nice.
nice. That sounds good.
What did you have, Cam?
I haven't, but I've got bacon downstairs. I've got eggs, and I'm
yeah,
waiting
baby.
to make myself an omelette, man.
Oh, that sounds good, baby. Talk to me about breakfast food.
You are the only person that's had breakfast here, Ben.
Yeah, I don't understand how you guys can sit down and do a podcast with me and not have some fuel in you. Like, how on earth do you get through talking to me for over an hour without food in your stomach?
Practice.
That cup of tea I finished with just before I started this podcast was like my third cup.
I just thought, actually, do you do it on an empty stomach? Because if you had eaten, the concern would be that you'd end up vomiting after talking to me for a while. Is that it?
No.
I can imagine that.
So-
Just getting through the third news article. So Cyberpunk.
Just up the wall, yeah. It's like a cartoon. Hey, Rob wanted a tangent. I think we can count that as one. Anything else you guys?
Why do I say these things?
Anything else you guys have been playing or wanted to bring up? Because we are really quick today, like just focused, like a laser.
Indeed.
Yes, so we are, man. We're laser focused. That's what we do. That's what we do.
I guess I'll take that as a no then, as Cameron is just repeating what I said and is seemingly going a little bit crazy.
Crazier.
Crazier, very true. So that has been episode 21 of Experience Kills, our weekly podcast. I hope you've enjoyed it. I have been your host, Ben. You can find me at DIYE on Twitter. You can find Rob at Homeless Mr. Gibbs. And you can find Cameron at Camelot on the tweet sphere. You can find us collectively at Experience Kills. If you've enjoyed this video on YouTube, please give us a like and subscribe. And if you don't, I will find out where you live. And I will come round and I will ask you again, very politely, please give us a like and subscribe. If, however,
one of us will arrive and drag him off into a van.
be like, he keeps doing this, it's really awkward. Just knock, knock, knock. Hello. Have you liked and subscribed yet? No? Could you do that? Thank you. It's the third house today. And while you're at it, if you are going to do that, click that little weird bell icon. That'll give you a notification when a new one of our episodes goes live. That's pretty handy because we do reviews and they come out all through the week and stuff. And you can just keep aware of it. Why not? That'd be cool. If you do decide you don't have time to watch these videos in YouTube format, we also provide them anywhere a good podcast can be found. And I do literally mean anywhere now. Good luck finding a provider we're not on. If you can do that, tell me, and I'll put us on it. That's the guarantee to you. So let us know. If you have any feedback or comments, leave us a reply on the video on YouTube or tweet us. We love to hear feedback. We really do. We do read it. We don't always take it on board. We don't always agree, but we will always read it. I can promise you that. I reply to many comments on YouTube and delete just as many when they're swearing and being racist and calling us names. And that happens too, and that's always fun. I love doing that. So yeah, that's been an episode of the podcast of episode 21. You guys good? Should we go?
Yeah.
I don't know what to do. I'm not so exhausted like I normally am because we haven't been going for 4 hours. But it's weird.
Well, next time that I'll be on in 2 weeks' time is probably going to be for my birthday episode.
Is it literally on your birthday?
It depends what day we do it on.
I love the idea of you giving up your birthday time to come and do a podcast. No, let's not do that. I feel so guilty.
I'm not going to tell you which day my birthday is.
Okay.
So whichever you guys land on,
right.
I will either admonish you live on our podcast.
Okay.
Or you'll be just normally chastised.
And then we are 2 weeks away from mine then, because I'm early April.
What? You're not on the weekend, are you?
No, I'm not on the weekend. But I might decide I am now, just to mess with you.
Yeah, I pushed my birthday back by 3 days.
Yep.
Well, guys, it was my birthday yesterday. None of you wish me happy birthday, so I hate you all. And on that note, let's sign off, and I'll catch you all soon. Have a good one, guys.
Bye.